What's going on, guys? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to make a video talking about, can any UFC fighter right now truly be amazing in the world of boxing? There are so many amazing boxers inside the world right now. We got Alexander Usyk in the heavyweight division, Terence Crawford, Shedeur Stevenson, Ryan Garcia, even though he's suspended, Tank Davis, Devin Haney, Terence Crawford. There's so many different boxers out there, but could any UFC fighters go out there and truly challenge these guys inside the boxing, in the boxing ring? Today I want to talk about who those fighters could possibly be, why I don't think a lot of fighters inside the UFC could really be able to do anything against these boxers, and of how boxing is such a technical sport, and of how they would destroy a lot of these different UFC fighters. But if you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It is the best way to help the channel grow. And while you're down there, please turn on the post notifications just so you guys are always notified when UFC content releases. But without further ado, let's jump right into the video of, can any UFC fighters truly compete with any boxer in the world? Today I want to make a video talking about of how any UFC fighter really doesn't have the ability to go in there and box, and if anyone could really compete within the highest level of boxing in the sport right now. Now, if we're just talking about a street fight one-on-one, all these UFC fighters would absolutely destroy the boxers in fights. Now, someone like Canelo Alvarez, who's a great boxer, could get taken down by Dricus du Plessis and submitted immediately, and he would be in a foreign department on the ground. But if we're talking about in the ring, in the boxing ring, there is no one who could really go in there and beat these different individuals. This is a different sport. MMA is a really big thing that's kind of more or less like street fighting in there. Yes, it is in an octagon, it is controlled, there is a referee, but boxing is kind of a more of an art and a technique. A lot of these guys who are getting wins, like Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, Alexander Usyk, Shedeur Stevenson, are really going in there and putting on a performance and a show inside the octagon, beating these guys who are absolutely crazy. Tank Davis is incredible in there, the way he's knocking out opponents, the way he knocked out Ryan Garcia. His last guy, Frank Martin, who he destroyed with that punch, was insane out there. But can any UFC fighters inside the organization really transfer to boxing and have a good thing? Now, I kind of want to talk about some things that the UFC fighters are going to really need. Grappling doesn't matter. Any really hard grappler isn't going to have the ability to go in there and win these fights. So someone like Belal Muhammad, Merab Dvalishvili, Dricus du Plessis, someone like that isn't going to really be able to go in there and compete in the boxing realm. And that's not a testament to them being a great fighter, but this is talking about a boxing, and there's no shame in that. Second off, these guys are going to have a really good frame in there. They're going to have to be really have good chins is going to be another thing. But being big, being long, having those attributes going inside the ring is going to be something that really helps these individuals going. And obviously, the most important thing is having a striking background inside the UFC that could possibly transfer into the octagon. And I kind of want to highlight some individuals who could truly, really impact the boxing world who are in the UFC currently. The first person I want to start with is Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall's size, even though yes, he is a good jiu-jitsu fighter, he has great boxing inside that heavyweight division. He would really be able to go in there and use that speed, use that length to really throw off some guys like Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury, a lot of those different heavyweight boxers. Tom Aspinall would really be able to go in there and compete with. I also think Alex Pereira in the light heavyweight division would be an amazing fighter to go in there and truly defeat someone in the light heavyweight boxing world, because Alex Pereira is an absolute technician in there with his hands. He is so good at throwing those left hooks, at throwing different combinations. And yes, I know a big thing that Alex Pereira has are those leg kicks that he had, but he is as dangerous with those different punches and those different combinations he can throw inside that octagon, which can transfer into the boxing world. Alex Pereira was a 2-division glory kickboxing champion, and yes, you take out the kicks, and that is a big weapon that Pereira possesses, but it's still something that boxing has been through his career for his entire life, and I truly think that Pereira would do an amazing job inside the boxing world. I think Leon Edwards, if he wasn't as gun-shy, would be an amazing boxer considering that style that he has possessing. Leon Edwards, as we saw in the fight against Belal Muhammad, did have some problems not possessing his leg kicks from all the pressure that Belal was putting on, which really did expose of how good Leon's boxing really is. I think someone like Belal, who put so much pressure on Leon Edwards, was able to reduce the amount of kicks, and I do think that Leon Edwards, if he didn't have those kicks in the boxing world, could truly be at a very big disadvantage. But Leon's pad work is something that really could go in there and show him of a time that he could be an amazing boxer. Now, someone that you might not believe, I don't think that you could be a good boxer, would actually be Islam Makhachev. Islam is such a good wrestler, probably the best wrestler in the UFC, but he is so well-rounded that he could go in there and absolutely destroy people in the octagon and in the ring. Islam has great hands. His hands are great. He can throw them really fast. fast, he's incredibly powerful in there. He would definitely be a better MMA fighter than a boxer, but I do think that Islam Makhachev could hold his own in there with some of the best boxers in the world. Sean O'Malley's another guy who could go in there. Corey Sandhagen's another guy who can go in there, who have great frames, who could possibly win in a boxing match. Now, I do think that all these fighters that I've named, most of them would lose in a fight, except really Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira, and someone who I forgot to mention, that being Israel Adesanya, I think would be the only 3 individuals who could go in the fight. But why is it so hard for these UFC fighters to transfer over to boxing? We saw Conor McGregor fight Floyd Mayweather. We saw Francis Ngannou fight Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. And why is it so hard for these individuals to transfer into the boxing world? And the reality is, it might not seem like a completely different sport, but it really is. There's so many different nuances that go into the boxing realm that make it so hard to be able to deal with. These boxers train their entire lives to keep their hands in certain positions, to throw techniques that really are there, and it's something that needs to be conditioned over time, and that is the only way for it to be there. Someone like Islam Makhachev, who has been training sambo his entire life, is going to be a better sambo grappler than 99% of the population on earth. And that is just something, just because Islam has been training it for so long, he's put the hours in, he's kind of on autopilot whenever he takes that ability, but it's something that he has trained so hard that it's not a foreign body to him. It's the same thing like Canelo Alvarez and all the strikes he throws, Tank Davis and all the strikes he throws, Shakur Stevenson and Terrence Crawford, all these individuals who are in there think of boxing as an art, as a second nature to them, to truly paint a picture of their masterpiece inside the ring. All these fighters could 100% beat any single UFC fighter. Now, the only person I really think that stands a chance is Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira, and Israel Adesanya. Consider these all individuals come from a boxing background, except Aspinall, who come from a jiu-jitsu background, but he's worked so hard, being so mobile, being so big, and being so powerful in that UFC heavyweight division, that truly, I think that he could hold his own inside the ring with some of these big individuals like Usyk and Fury. I really do think that MMA fighters transferring to boxing is a very hard thing, and it's the same thing the other way. No boxer could really go inside the MMA octagon and beat someone, even beat an amateur fighter, because of the different techniques and skills that they possess. Yes, Canelo would outbox someone like Belal Muhammad, but Belal Muhammad would absolutely maul Canelo in a fight if it was just an MMA fight. Belal would go in there, take him down, hold him down, submit him, beat him to death. I don't know what would happen, but Belal would definitely win. And that's not a testament to Canelo Alvarez being a bad fighter, but rather this just being a completely different sport than what he's used to. Ultimately, boxing and MMA is something that really you can't have crossover against. I know Francis Ngannou had a very good fight against Tyson Fury, but I feel like Tyson really underestimated Francis. But someone like Anthony Joshua, once he understood the task at hand, absolutely nuked Francis Ngannou into the orbit after their fight in Saudi Arabia in March. I truly think that MMA and boxing are two completely different sports. They both have equal representation from one another, and it's very hard to transfer over, and I don't think that really any UFC fighter currently in the organization would have a good and easy time transferring over to the sport of boxing. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please let me know what you think down below in the comment section of what you think about boxers and MMA fighters possibly fighting. Do you think that any UFC fighters currently, even the best strikers within the organization, Tom Aspinall, Alex Pereira, Israel Adesanya, Islam Makhachev, Leon Edwards, could really go in there and put up a fight against some of these boxers, the greatest in the world, the Tank Davises, the Canelo Alvarezes, the Terrence Crawfords, the individuals like that who are so skilled and just absolutely on another level of striking inside the UFC octagon, to where they would go in there and absolutely maul these individuals in a boxing match. Now, on the other hand, all these individuals in the UFC would maul all the boxers in an MMA fight, but that I think is just a testament to how different the sports are, of how different these techniques are going down, and of how each person is respectably amazing in their regarded sport. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you guys enjoy the UFC content, and while you're down there, turn on the post notifications just so you guys don't miss UFC content that releases daily. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon with more UFC content and news.